If you would like to be a proud sponsor of Replicon Radio, shoot us an email to repliconiswatching@gmail.com for more information. Welcome back to the regular scheduled program.
Yeah. What up, y'all? We are live back up on YouTube as well. If you guys are tuning in live,
we're back up on the boob tube.
Make sure you share that out, spread it out, spread the love, tell your friends, your family, all that stuff. And while you're at it, don't forget to vote at the Replicon Radio
Spread
Awards.
your fucking butt cheeks too.
Spread them.
Oh my god.
Spread them.
All right, we're getting out of hand
Spread
already.
'em wide.
Spread it.
The wider you spread them, the better it feels.
Oh my god. And there goes all of the monetization that may or may not have ever been.
No, it doesn't say anything about creepiness.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Well, let's not get creepy because we have friends over, Roo.
We have very special guests.
Yeah, so it's been a minute, guys, since we've had some guests on the show. We got a bunch lined up, starting with tonight. So we have a very special guest, a wrestler, a producer, a fucking artist in their own right. We're going to get to know everything about him tonight. So give it up for hopefully our new friend.
He's weighing in.
That's right. Weighing at 333 pounds.
10 foot tall.
One man crew.
He's a whoop-ass wrecking
Thanks
machine.
for having me, guys.
What's up, man?
Oh, not much, brother. Just got done recording a track called "Smoke Till I Die" featuring Light, but he hasn't recorded his part yet.
Hell yeah! Shout out to
He's in
Light.
a car wreck recently. I'm just glad the guy's all right. Thank God he's alive. You know what I'm saying?
For sure, yeah. Hopefully, a good thing that everybody that was involved in that is okay.
Oh, I hope so, man. I don't know the details on everything. I just saw Light's post though.
Yeah, from what I read, it looked like everybody that was involved with that is okay.
Thank God for that, man.
For sure. I mean, some people just get out there and they just drive fucking crazy and not paying attention what the fuck they're doing, and shit happens. But glad everybody's okay.
We love you, Ed.
Right?
Yeah, man. I actually was rear-ended this past November.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, man.
So it happens.
Hopefully we got him. We got Light scheduled to be on the program next Monday, so hopefully he's healed up enough to pick up the phone next week. Yeah. We got the Monstar Click, which is like officially a group, if you guys didn't know.
Yes, sir.
Project Born, Schizo, Straight Jacket, and Light all going to be on the show next week. But this isn't next week. This is this week. We got one man crew in the house. If you guys tuned in last week, we talked about some shit that was going on with.
We did.
I would call it.
And I believe we called him the crazy guy standing on a street corner yelling shit.
We do.
A lot of people.
No disrespect by any means.
Nah, it's just a lot of people don't understand why I did that. They think that like I was just on the street corner just calling Violent J out. He's the one that challenged me to a fight. I just answered the challenge.
Right. And we're gonna get to that. But first,
I want to comment.
I know. Well, I do too. But here's the deal. I don't.
Once again, he canceled.
No, I want to. We're gonna get to know the man first. I know
absolutely.
Everybody wants to tune in and be like, oh, he's beefing with Jay. Maybe
he's gonna talk shit. He gonna talk shit. We'll get to that later.
We're gonna get to that, but let's get to know the guy first because we had the same. We're like, oh, who's this fucking guy on YouTube in his fucking shorts? And then just a few comments.
It's like 20 degrees in fucking Detroit right now. This dude's out here in the street corner wearing shorts.
But just a few comments in the chat room. And we're like, oh, okay, that actually makes a little more sense.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, this is a fucking legit dude. He does a lot of legit things. He's been around for a long time. Let's fucking get to know the man. So,
for sure.
Without further ado, one man crew. But yeah, man, we do like to get to know people when we have them on the show. We want to hang out. We want to see. So as I mentioned in the beginning, you do wrestling, you do production. You know, you said you're working on a new track. You got a record coming out, so you're an artist in your own right. Like, what was kind of the beginnings for a young man from Ohio? Did you start out as a wrestler? Were you into music? Like, what was kind of your story and what was the origin?
Well, when I was in high school, I was like, man, I don't know what I want to do with my life. I don't want to be a professional wrestler. But they're all telling me I got to have a real job to fall back on. So I was like, well, fuck it. I'll just be a musician then.
All right. I mean,
Which makes a lot of sense because they say the same thing about that, right? If you want to be a musician, you gotta have a real job to fall back on.
Right,
Can't
right.
do that.
So basically, man, I just was aspiring to be a professional wrestler and a recording artist and musician since I was in my adolescent years, and I just kind of started doing both of them around the same time. And I debuted as a pro wrestler when I was 17. The first thing I ever did was I was a plant for the Iron Sheik doing the Persian Club Challenge. And I could not swing them damn clubs around my head to save my life. Like, that guy was really strong. And at that time, he was like pushing 50 back then. I mean, he was an older guy back then, but he was still strong. And he swung them damn clubs over his head so many times. I'm like, man, how are you doing that? Is there a trick to that? He's like, no trick. I was like, damn, you're a strong motherfucker. Because I couldn't do it not even one time.
And that was your first job in professional wrestling?
Yeah, I worked as a plant for the Iron Sheik's Persian Club Challenge, and then I did like a battle royal or something like the next month.
For those who don't know the Iron Sheik, he is a legend in WWE. In WWF before it became WWE.
You know, that's who I was talking about the other day when I got confused with Sabu. There's like a young Iron Sheik now, right?
Not that I know, but I haven't watched wrestling in a while either. So One Man Crew said yes.
Okay, that's what I think.
Sabu was actually supposed to wrestle in WWF as the Sultan and have the Iron Sheik as his manager.
Right, I remember
But
that.
Sabu, actually, his uncle is the original Sheik. So he was like, I can't do that because it would be a disrespect to my uncle to have the Iron Sheik as my manager.
Right.
Saying that he's my uncle. So they gave that gimmick to Fatu or Rikishi. I was actually trained by Umaga, which is Rikishi's younger brother. It's also Tonga Kid's brother.
Crazy. So you were wrestling in high school, I assume, and then you like even before you graduated, or if you
Yes,
you were young, you got into professional wrestling.
I started training when I was 17. I went down to Pensacola, Florida, and trained with Bobby Dahl and Eki Fatu, which is Umaga, and Danny Rowland. Those guys were, Danny Rowland and Bobby Dahl were students of Robert Gibson. At the time, I was living in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So I met like Robert Gibson when I was like 15, and I kept begging him to train me. He's like, you got to be 18. You got to be 18. So his students, Bobby Dahl and Danny Rowland, they liked me. So they're like, if you want to train, come down to Pensacola and we'll work out with you. So I went down to Pensacola when I was like 16, 17 and worked out with those guys and learned from those guys. And then I started getting booked here and there when I was 17.
That's crazy. So then,
but I was only doing like battle royals and stuff starting out, because I didn't really have any experience or know what I was doing. And then finally, like, I started getting booked regularly, like twice a week when I was like 19. And I just learned by experience. I would get beat every single week. And like, that's how I learned.
For sure. Now, was that ever lead to like any, like, I don't really know a lot. You know more about wrestling than I do, Rue, but like any, like, your trainer was in WWE. Did you ever lead to any like televised things like WWE or TNT or I guess?
Yeah, I've been on TV quite a bit.
ECW.
I was on TV quite a bit, just mostly in other countries, but I've done national TV. I never worked for WWE or nothing, but I was on TV for Butterbean's reality show. I tagged with Brutus the Barber Beefcake versus Butterbean the boxer and his comp partner for this reality show called Big Law Deputy Butterbean.
Hell yeah.
And I was on the Jerry Springer show once, and I was on this AWE Awesome Night of the Legends pay-per-view dark match, and they put me on the DVD.
Wait a minute. What
I
the hell
sent
were
that
you
DVD.
on? You go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say I sent that DVD match because it was like the same production value as the actual broadcast. They did commentary over the match, like Larry Zbyszko and Dutch Mantell and Chris Cruz did commentary over the match, and it looked like a big like pay-per-view match because it was shot before the actual broadcast. So I sent that video to Japan, and I got booked over in Japan, and then like my career took off in Japan. Like I was like GOAT level Bruiser Brody status over in Japan. Like I was a big star in Japan for several years.
And you went by the moniker Grave Robber then?
What's that?
Did you go by Grave Robber then?
The Grave Robber? No, that's a joke between me and Tony Atlas. Because I book all these older guys to work with a lot. And he called me a grave robber. He said, I said, why you say that, Mr. Tony? He goes, because you're digging up all these old fossils, beating the hell out of them, robbing them of what little bit of dignity they have left, and then sending them right back down to hell. You're a grave robber.
Beating up all the old people.
So I was like, I like that. I'm going to use that as a gimmick.
Fuck yeah.
So it's just like a moniker I adopted, the Grave Robber one-man crew, because I beat up all the old guys.
Gotcha. So you were always going by the one-man crew, even like when you first started?
No. I had different names. I started wrestling I wrestled as Dougie Smooth, starting out, then I changed my name to Crucifer. And I was in a horrorcore rap group from 2013 until now called first it was called Crypt Keepers, but then there was another member, Suburban Corpse, and then we got a third member his name is Drunk Zambini now, but he was known by Great Zambini back then. And then the third guy, Suburban Corpse, he thought he was like he would damage our chances of success by being in our group because he thought we were more advanced than he was, so he dropped out. So we changed the name of it to Keepers of the Crypt, and we put out 3 albums from 2005 to 2007. And then I went solo and pursued like my endeavors in wrestling and went overseas and did my thing in Japan, and then I got hired to be a producer for Psychopathic Records in 2020 during the pandemic because I made a bunch of beats. But I got like this whack bunk deal, and I was never like given proper credit for anything I did, nor was I paid for like all the custom beats I made for ICP. And I wasn't mad about that so much as I was about not receiving proper credit for my work. Right. But that led to this. Now me and Drunk Zambia are working on a new album called The Astronomic Dr. Chronic, which is like an unofficial Joker's card. It's called the Smoker's card. And what we're doing is we're repurposing the dopest beats that I made for Yum Yum Bedlam, and we're making our own album out of it. And we got like all the top guys from MNE and Light and Straight Jacket and some other artists on it. And it's going to be dope, man. We're almost finished with it.
That's fucking wild. So backing up a little bit. So you're in Japan, you're wrestling, you're doing all this stuff over there. Like, were you making music at the same time? Were you actively pursuing production? Like, how did anybody find out about you for this gig to happen? Like, what was going on at the time? I've always been making beats. Like this guy here, Drunk Zambi, he taught me how to make beats back in like 2004, 2005. Yeah. And then when I moved back down to Alabama in 2007, I got in contact with this guy named Sam Peasy, who at the time he went by Sam Adams or Sam P. Adams. He's a chart-topping producer. He produces mostly like gospel rap. As far as like how his level of success as being a Billboard chart-topping producer goes, he's most known for his work as like a gospel rap producer. But I learned a lot from him and the engineer Jim Corrier at the studios called Woodshed Studios in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I just started leveling up my skill level as a producer over time. And I always made beats, but I didn't like my own beats. So I would always like buy beats from other producers like Mike P and Fritz the Cat Van Koski and Sam Peasy and other producers. But over time, I got to the point where like, wow, my beats are actually sounding as dope as the guys that I'm buying beats from. And now I'm to a point where my beats sound doper than most of the beats that I used to get from other producers. So now I fully believe in myself as a producer. And then I hit up Violent J on Cameo and sent him some beats, and he thought they were dope, but he wanted me to make some custom stuff targeted particularly to their sound. So that's what I did. And the first 2 custom beats I made, he was really happy with, and he gave me a deal to
produce for them. But there was no contract or nothing like that. Everything was like all like handshake deal bullshit, as is every other deal that they make, I guess, from what I understand.
So, and then I guess at some point you guys talked, and like I know you had mentioned last week when we were just chatting in the chat that they had like basically brought you from Japan because they guaranteed so many things and everything would be taken care of, and you came from Japan to Detroit, or like what kind of happened?
No, they didn't bring me anywhere, and he didn't guarantee anything. The thing is, the only thing that he agreed to was that the first 4 beats that I produced for him, the first 4 custom beats would be free, and then the rest of them he'd give me $500 a beat. I made like anywhere from like 40 to 50 custom beats for the guy, so he owes me like $20,000 for those beats, and then he didn't like give me proper credit for the one that he used. So that's what I'm really pissed off about, is that actually the fact that I looked at the metadata on Spotify and iTunes, and on Yum Yum's lore, the Bewitching song, where it says produced by, it just says blank. It don't say anybody's name.
Yeah.
That's what I had a problem with. So for about a year now, I was reaching out to Rob and Joe to try to get them to give me credit for my beat, and also try to work things out with them, because I don't know where things went wrong, because I let them know in advance that I was coming back here, because he had told me that if I come back here, I'll get more opportunities. So I believe in myself, and I'm a go-getter and a chaser of dreams, and I 100% believe in myself. So when he told me what he told me about coming back over here and getting to know them, and I'd get more opportunities and whatever, if I accepted the deal, my career would be going good, I believed that. I believed him. So I came back over here, and I basically just kind of like got gaslighted and disrespected, and he took my beat off Yum Yum Bedlam and basically told me to, get a clue, basically go fuck myself. Like, it was some bullshit, man. You don't do that to somebody who put in that much work for you for over a year. You know what I mean? If you got somebody making 40, 50 beats for you over the course of a year, I put in like 40 plus hours a week. Like, I was treating it like a full-time job. And then I uprooted myself and came over here to be more accessible to the guy, so there wouldn't be any communication problems or anything, and that I could work more hands-on with him. And so it's not like I wasn't coming at him like, hey, bro, you owe me something. It wasn't like that. I was just like, look, bro, if you're going to be making money off my shit, the least you could do is not treat me like a fucking jabroni.
Right.
And then that's when he was like, went on this long rant, and I ended up like firing me, I guess you would say. But I guess it ain't firing me, because I didn't really work for him according to him. So,
hey, what is this show called? I'm trying to get.
It's called Replicon Radio.
All right, I'm trying to get other people on here.
So basically, over the course of like,
RepliconRadio.com or on YouTube at Replicon Radio.
Replicon Radio.
Replicon Radio.
Replicon. Okay.
I see where.
Anyway,
so
I basically, after that happened, I kept my mouth shut for over a year, because I know like a lot of juggalos, like, they're real tribal minded. Like, if they know that ICP don't fuck with somebody, then they don't fuck with that guy 9 times out of 10. So I just kept my mouth shut about it, and just hopes that everything would just like blow over,
or work itself out, for sure.
And that Joe would get his panties out of a fucking wad and fucking work things out with me and be a professional and be a man of his word, but he didn't. So over time, I kept trying to reach out to him and whatnot, and he just kept like meeting me with more like disrespect, and I was at the point where like, okay, well, I don't know how to get this guy's attention anymore, so I guess I'll just offer him dope and see if he fucking responds to me. And then when he did, then I let him know how I really felt about him. And then he told me, suck my dick, you fucking retarded monkey. I hope you introduce yourself to me one day so I could beat the fuck out of your bitch ass. So I was like, all right, motherfucker, how about this? I'll meet you at the corner of Power Road and 10 Mile in Farmington Hills on Sunday at noon. I'll meet you there. I'll give you an opportunity to kick my ass. If you think you can kick my ass, I'll be there. And then I came there, and he never came, and it is what it is.
That's where the YouTube live came from. that
I
everybody.
didn't put it. It wasn't live or nothing, but I just filmed it just in case a motherfucker did show up and he tried to find me, I could beat his ass and have it on video.
Yeah, I'm laughing.
I mean, yeah, it's funny, but
I don't. This drunk Zambini right here, like fucking. I don't have a problem with fucking Violent J. But I know he disrespected one man crew, and like I get what he's trying to do and shit, but you know what I'm saying? That's like this isn't my fight.
for sure.
Like this is fucking straight up like a one man crew versus Violent J shit.
Yeah, I don't have no beef against nobody else at Psychopathic Records because I didn't talk to anybody else except Rob, and he was always cool to me. So.
I'm glad your random friend decided to clear the air. We were all confused.
No, it's like man, it ain't even a random friend, dude. This is the motherfucker that's gonna be on every song on this new album and shit. We've been doing shit forever. I'm just trying to yeah, this motherfucker right here he's crazy and shit. So like fucking yeah, like his shit I'm just trying to clear. Yeah, I'm trying to clear that it's not between us. Now, if you hear our new album, there will be it's gonna sound like a straight up diss against Violent J, but if you interpret it that way, and there's some shit I say that sounds fucking crazy too. But
you're drunk.
That's not what my intentions are. But it's gonna be, dude.
So when I say,
the gentleman, the drunk Zambini.
So on the album, when I say "fuck you, Violent J," just know that I don't mean it.
No, it's
Exactly.
like he was trying to say. Like it doesn't. He and I were listening to this shit. And we're like, man, this actually could be interpreted as a fucking diss to Violent J. This whole album basically could, but that's not what we intended to do. But knowing what we know, it kind of sounds like it.
I mean, but the same could be said about like all of Twisted's albums. You know, like if you interpret it that way, yeah, sure. I'm sure they had a lot of disses on there. But like you can say that all of their stuff is disses, but I guarantee you it's not. So
yeah, like sneak disses.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. But there is actually some lyrics I say in a song where you're doing the song called "Envy," and I like.
He does say some shit that does sound like he's dissing Psychopathic.
And the hook even sounds like I'm dissing Psychopathic, and it was inspired. It was inspired by
what happened with me. But yeah, he wrote some shit on. He actually was like standing up for me, like lyrically on some shit.
I wouldn't worry about apologizing ahead of time too much about it. I mean, I would just let it fly, man. I mean, if people are like, "Oh, is that a diss? That's a diss." I mean, you know, then people are listening to it, so I wouldn't be worried too much about it of preemptively apologizing. Just let it fly, and people are gonna think what they want to think about it.
Yeah, we ain't worried about it, brother. I don't know why he even brought that shit up, to be honest with you.
Moving on!
Because the alcohol said, go ahead.
We're going to move on.
There's a reason we call him the drunk Zambi.
Oh, we can tell. We can tell. Absolutely. It all makes sense now.
All right.
We had to make that as gimmick because, I mean, the motherfucker's an alcoholic in real life.
I mean,
so,
at least he's up front.
That's not a gimmick, that's a persona.
Yep.
But we like it.
It's a character trait.
It's dope though. Ain't nobody mad at you, bro.
As long as you ain't hurting nobody, and do you, man.
Just don't drive, fam. Don't drive that Zamboni.
It'd be like Deadpool where he's chasing after the guy for 3 blocks. He's like, "I'm gonna get you."
So
this motherfucker already got too many DUIs as it is.
This is DUI Steve over here.
I love it, man. That's
Pardon my friend. I have to walk
That's
away.
probably why they call him Zamboni, because he can't drive a car no more. He's gonna drive a fucking Zamboni down the streets.
No, it's not Zamboni. It's Zambini.
Oh, Zambini.
It's like a name of like a magician. Like his old gimmick was like a magician, like an evil magician.
Bro, a magician rapper? Like a rapper that just goes on stage and then, like, while he's rapping, does magic tricks? That'd be so dope.
Yeah, that's actually what. That's what his original gimmick was, actually.
Fucking do it.
But he became an alcoholic instead of a magician, so.
Will they do a different trick other than making a fucking bottle disappear?
Well, that's what he does. That's his magic trick. What is it? You make a beer bottle refill up itself? Yeah.
Okay, Steve-O. He just vomits it back in there.
We were going to have a song called Sorcery, but we scrapped it till my solo album.
Yeah, I'm going to produce a solo album. It's going to be dope. It's called Liquor. It's going to be called Liquor Box.
Okay.
Enough of him.
All right, get out of here.
This is about me.
You're right. All right, so
I have
for
to go outside.
everybody tuning in, wondering what the fuck is going on right now, let's back up a little bit.
We're just
One Man Crew produced a bunch of music for Violent J and the Insane Clown Posse. So they wanted you to make a bunch of custom beats for them, most of which were going to be used for Yum Yum Bedlam. One of them was used for Bewitching, which is also Yum Yum's Lore, which actually became like a #1. Charting
actually,
track, right?
That's correct. But they were only going to use one of my beats for Yum Yum Bedlam, but he took it off when I came back over here, and I guess I freaked him out by coming over here or something. I don't know, but that he was only going to use one of my beats for Yum Yum Bedlam. But I made a whole bunch of beats intended for Yum Yum Bedlam, but he actually only used one of them. But he ended up taking it off the album. But yeah, Yum Yum's Lure.
Was that because of your relationship, or they just decided not to use the track?
Well, I came over and I was like, hey, bro, I just arrived in Detroit. Who do I talk to about work, like working on projects and stuff, like besides you, because I was like, I got your number. I'm trying to get through on the hotel room phone. Like, I'm at this hotel, this room number, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, what are you talking about, bro? What work? We ain't hiring and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, dude, you told me, like, if I came over here, you guys could use somebody like me, because I don't just make beats and rap and wrestle. I'm also a graphic designer, and I also do video editing, and I also am an audio engineer. So
they were actively pursuing an in-house engineer after all the shit happened with Straight Jacket.
Yeah, and I was like, I wasn't even trying to like find full-time employment or nothing with them. I just wanted to work hands-on with them on shit, so that there wouldn't be any more communication problems. Because this one time he liked this beat that I did, and he was like, I like the way the way it starts out dope as fuck, but I want the verses part. And I'm talking about, he was saying this on an email, on text, right? Mm-hmm. He said, I want the verse, the 808 to go boom, boom, boom. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, well, as a producer, I can interpret that like 4 or 5, 6 different ways. You know what I mean? It could be like the first 3 patterns, boom, boom, boom. It can be a triplet sliced over the first 4 patterns, boom, boom, boom. It can be the first, 3rd, and the 5th pattern, boom, boom, boom. It could be so many different things, like boom, boom, boom. So I'm trying to figure out like what he's talking about, and I send him like a revision. He's like, never mind, bro, you don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, well, why don't you call me and tell me, like, mouth it with your own voice so I'll know what you're talking about. He's like, I told you I wanted to go boom, boom, boom. The 808s, that is. So I kept like working on that beat, and he was like, never mind, thanks for trying. It's kind of like dismissive, right? Mm-hmm. So I was like, I sent him an email not long after that, like, hey man, I'm going to come to Detroit because I don't want any more communication problems. So I'm coming to Detroit so that we can work hands on. And then when I finally came to Detroit, he acted like I never fucking emailed him that. Like he wasn't aware months in advance that I was coming to Detroit when I sent him like emails letting his brother know that I was coming. So it was just weird, man. And then so when I got here, he was like basically telling me like, what made you think that like we were talking about a job? And I'm like, look, man, like the way he was talking to me was just like, he's like, what the hell are you talking about? Like acting like he never said any of the shit that he said to me when he first gave me the deal as producer for him. So I was like, yeah, he wanted me to come back here. He told me, he said, I hope you come back.
You have all the emails, right? So
I have most of them. I don't have all of them, but there was one point where he's like, bring your ass back over here, man, because we can really use somebody like you. So I did, and then he just basically like act like he never said none of that shit. And I wasn't like, it's not like I was expecting them to like give me all this money or nothing, man. Like I wasn't even tripping about money or nothing from day one. I just wanted to work with them and be a part of the team. And like be, create with them guys, hands on.
For sure. That's how most people get screwed over there, unfortunately.
And so I was like, well, man, fuck, if you're making money off my shit, the least you could do is like not treat me like a fucking jabroni. And then that's when he like got pissed off and decided, you know what, you just talked me into taking your beat off my new shit. Then went like on this long rant talking all kind of shit. So I just ignored him. And a couple days later, I sent him an email thanking him for the opportunity and whatnot, and I just kind of let it go. But this dude, like, I guess when he feels like he's done with somebody, he's done with them, no matter who was in there wrong or what. But I was cool the whole time. I didn't say anything bad publicly about him or nothing. Like I was super cool towards them. I reached out to them several times, wanting to do business with them and work with them in other capacities. And then finally,
Rob never responded either about getting your production credits.
Nothing. No, yeah, none of that. So
you weren't supposed to get like points or anything on the record. None of that was ever discussed, or what?
Well, part of the deal was I wasn't going to get no points or none of that shit. But they never said that they weren't going to give me fucking credit for the shit. That I never agreed about.
Right. Yeah. So it's the whole point of basically working for free or really cheap is to get the credit.
Yeah, like at least have the fucking credit. So like if it ever goes gold one day or something, I'll get a plaque for it at least. You know what I mean? But I mean, like when I tell people I produce a track for ICP, like they have to really dig and like see it on my Discogs that I have credit on that. And if it weren't for this news article, like this reporter from Guam Pacific Daily News, which is a USA Today affiliate. When I was living in Guam at the time, they did a story on me about that, about how I kept busy during the pandemic making beats, and then I landed one of the beats on an ICP album. They did a story on that about me. If it weren't for that, man, I wouldn't have any fucking proof that I produced anything for ICP. And also in this other video, they used one of my beats on a Patreon stream. That and the news article is the only proof I have that I ever worked with ICP or that they ever used any of my beats.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I thought that didn't they use that on the CD they put out for Patreon, or that was just
the You Produce ICP Patreon stream. They used one of my beats on there, and I didn't give them permission to do that either. And they also didn't they misspelled the way I spell my name.
But the You Produce ICP stream ended up being like songs they released.
Yeah, but the Juggalos voted on the beats.
Oh, and yours wasn't okay. Yours wasn't one picked.
Yeah, they picked like some other producer.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I wasn't happy about that. I didn't like being having my beat put like in a fucking contest where they're voting on the shit like that, because I don't have any control over like which beat they use and like what the other beat sounds like and shit like that. You know what I mean? Because they could pick like somebody else's dopest beat and put it against one of my weakest beats, and of course the doper beat's going to win. Or somebody that's more established, that the juggalos know who they are, and they're automatically going to vote for that person because they don't know who I am. You know what I mean? So I wasn't too happy about it. I mean, I thanked them for the opportunity and the exposure and whatnot, but secretly I was just like, man, this is kind of whack. I wasn't expecting this shit.
Well, especially because they misspelled your fucking name.
Yeah, and then they like misspelled my name at the bottom of the screen. Like, I mean, they spelled it the way you would normally spell crew, like CREW, but that's not how I spell it. I spell it KRU because it's an acronym for Keep Rising Upward, or Keep Rising Up. So, like, if anybody ever like looked me up on Google or something, it wouldn't have done anything for me.
We had a great question in the chat room from Will FM is dope. He said, outside of Yum Yum, the Yum Yum lore, what other tracks or things have you produced from other artists or anything online?
Well, I did. I produced my own album, and I have a couple collaborations with one with Bizarre from D12 and one with Lil White. And then I made a song with Esham that was on the UGH 34 mixtape. That Intrinsic facilitates those mixtapes. He works for MNE now, so that's how I was able to get all the MNE guys on my new album, the new Keepers of the Crypt album, Astronomic Dr. Chronic. But as far as like producing on other people's projects, I mostly just produce for my own projects. But I've collaborated with a lot of established artists and musicians. I worked with Jimmy Bauer from Down and I Hate God, and he was also in Crowbar at one point. And I'm working with like a lot of established artists on my new album. But as far as like having a credit on anybody else's album, I haven't really produced for any other albums besides or for any other artists besides ICP up until this point, because I was always like producing my own stuff.
I got you. That makes sense.
But I did produce for a documentary, a wrestling documentary, and I just landed 5 beats on a movie soundtrack though. 5 songs on the Off Ramp Juggalo Road movie directed by Nathan Tate.
There you go. Hell yeah. That's what's up. So you've done a lot of stuff in like the Juggalo world. Like you did wrestling with JCW and stuff as well. You used to wrestle with like Corp and stuff.
I wrestled a couple JCW shows at the Gathering of the Juggalos in 2011, and I would have been at the gatherings. I probably would have been at the 2012 and 2013 and 14 and gatherings, but I was overseas during those, so I couldn't. Back when Kevin Gill was booking them, I know for sure he would have let me work those gatherings in JCW, but I was just busy making a name for myself in Japan at that time.
For sure. So but you never had a relationship with ICP. You were just booked as a wrestler from like KG and stuff like that. You didn't actually have
at that time. Yeah, in 2011, I met Violent J back then, and that's how. When I hit him up on Cameo, I reminded him, like, hey, bro, I met you at the 2011 gathering. Since then, I've leveled up a lot as a producer. And he's like, we're always looking for dope beats, bro. Send me some fire. So he gave me his email address and then his phone number. And I started sending him beats like that I already made. And he was like, these are dope, but they're just not. They're perfect for thousands of other artists. But we need stuff more tailored to our specific sound. So that's when I started making them custom beats. And then after the first 2, he got real excited about it. And that's when he gave me the deal to make him custom beats.
Gotcha. So then you weren't paid for any of these, and you sent him the email wondering what's going on and why you don't have credit, which is where the video came from what did he call you again?
He called me. He said, "Suck my dick, you retarded monkey."
So funny.
I hope you introduce yourself to me one day so I can beat the fuck out of your bitch ass.
So you had never met him in person at that point?
I've met him in person. I actually went to see him at the JCW show last year up in Pontiac, Michigan. The guy wouldn't even look me in the eye. Like, So I snuck into the gathering and walked up to several Psychopathic Records employees and let them know like what happened and how I feel about it. Like, basically, I'm not scared of Psychopathic Records or anybody at Psychopathic Records.
I mean, it's trying to get what's due. So all these. So where we're at now is you made the video, or you were waiting for him, and obviously he didn't show up. Has anything happened since that video was made of you on the corner or whatever?
The only thing that's happened is like I've had like a ton of like hatred towards me from like a bunch of juggalos who really don't know what they're talking about and don't know what's going on. And I can't fault them for it because I really admire their passion and their loyalty to ICP and Psychopathic Records, because I felt the same way as a juggalo growing up with ICP's music. Like, it saved my life when I was suicidally depressed when I was an adolescent. So I understand the passion and whatnot. It's just, the thing is, like, most of these people are just marks for ICP, and they're just going to turn a blind eye to any kind of bullshit regardless. And I admire that. I admire that passion and that loyalty.
Well, you had enough love to, basically uproot your life to move back from Japan in the hopes that you could make music with them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you weren't even guaranteed money. You had a small relationship and you were hopeful it would blossom into more. So, I mean, that proves that you had the love, but obviously you still were all adults and you need to get what you're supposed to be paid for, and you don't need to be disrespected.
Man, I from day one, it was all love, brother. Like, that's all. That's the reason I even wanted to work with ICP, is because I idolized them growing up, and I just wanted to be a part of the team, man. So I wasn't tripping about the money. I didn't give a shit about the money. I still don't give a shit about the money. It's not about the money. It's about the principle that you can give a guy a deal, use his music, make money off of it, continue to make money off of it, not give him any credit for it, and then renege on the deal, and then treat the motherfucker like a jabroni and talk shit to him.
Right.
Like, I'm not cool with that. I don't care who. I don't give a fuck if it was Jesus Christ himself. I'd be seeking this motherfucker out and having a talk. You know what I mean?
To some people, it is.
Yeah, some people worship this guy as a fucking false idol.
But no, I get it for sure. But that's why we wanted to, let you tell your story, because, always, like, we talked about last week, we just saw the video. We're like, what's this guy doing? Just some guy in his shorts fucking standing on a street corner yelling at Violent J. We're like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? We're like, let's let the man tell his story. Obviously you're due, and as were many stories, for people for years and years and years. You might be a lucky one that you only lost out on a little bit.
I ain't just some guy. The thing, like, a lot of juggalos.
Well, I'm saying when we saw you, we didn't, you know what I mean? We didn't know who you were. We just saw a video of a guy. That's why I said, come on and tell your story.
I know what you're saying, because that's what a lot of people think when they see me. They're like, who's this random asshole standing on a street corner calling out Violent J? But the thing is, like, I was already established before I ever worked with ICP in the wrestling business. Like, I like the whole hierarchy of, like, the celebrity shit, to me, it's all bullshit. I don't give a fuck about none of that. Like, these people put themselves on a pedestal. Juggalos put them on a pedestal, and they're worshipped as false idols. And I understand what it is. I'm not a mark for it. I see right through it. And I just hate to see that people are being used and abused by these guys because they prey upon the fandom itself. And the family is just a gimmick, these guys, to sell fucking useless hillbilly trinkets and fucking t-shirts and jerseys and shit. That's all it is a fucking work. It's a gimmick to these guys. It's all about money. To the Juggalos, family is legit. I feel it. Like, the Juggalos created that within themselves, and the Juggalo subculture has grown into something that's like broken free from the shackles of ICP. It's something that has a life of its own now, and there's new artists and new creators coming out of the woodwork. And it's just, when ICP is dead and gone, the Juggalo community is still going to keep going and it's still going to keep thriving. And I recognize that. That's why I'm not trying to disrespect juggalos or anything like that, because I'm also a juggalo.
For sure.
And I got love for every single juggalo, even the ones that are shit talking me and disrespecting me, because they, you know, God love them. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. That's really what it is. That's all it boils down to.
Right. Absolutely.
But
so the good news is, if there's any good news, is you worked your ass off. You made these dope custom beats in the sound of Insane Clown Posse, to work with them, and they're not using those beats now. So you took those beats for a Joker's card, and now you're using them for your new record by the Keepers of the Crypt.
Yeah,
Astronomic Dr. Chronic.
Yeah, yeah, that's the best form of revenge is success, and I'm tackling it from 3 different angles. One is this album, which is like an unofficial Joker's card set in the same universe. Because, I mean, these beats were ICP beats. They were made tailored specifically to ICP sound for an ICP Joker card. They were just never used for it. So we took those beats. We got Twisted, Blaze, Anybody Killer, Mars from the original Dark Lotus, the ROC, Boondocks, Light, Straight Jacket, the Joker,
Gmo.
and Gmo Ski, LB Sickening, and some other homies.
Tommy Chong,
he's on the intro skit for the album.
That's a lot.
And we created something magical that the open-minded juggalo homies who want to listen to this, they're gonna love it. They're gonna enjoy it, because we made this. I made this album for an audience of one, for myself. What would I like to hear as a juggalo? And I fucking love this shit. And I know if I love it, if my homie Drunk Zambini loves it, if all my close juggalo homies who I let listen to it, who I've leaked tracks to, if they love it, I know all the other juggalos are going to love it too. And I'm really, really stoked and really proud of what we've done. And we're almost 100% done with it. We just got to do 2 more bonus tracks. We just got Light and Straight Jacket to agree to do those tracks for us, because there's 3 color variants of the album. There's the purple strain, the orange strain, and the green strain. And each color variant has its own 2 unique bonus tracks for a total of 13 tracks per variant, for a grand total of 17 total, the same amount as any Insane Clown Posse Joker card.
And I know you said you're almost done. Is there an expected release date? Is it like a 420 thing?
We're putting it out on 420. People will be able to order it from us on CD. We're gonna hold off on the digital, because we're gonna make these bastards pay for it. Because I don't want any shit talking motherfuckers listening to it for free and then talking shit about it. If you want to shit talk it, you're gonna have to pay, motherfucker. That's the way it is.
There you have it. So is that gonna be like on your website? Do you have a website? Where can people find it when it drops? Is there pre-orders? Let them know what they need to do.
Well, the way we're going to do it is, like, if you order it directly from me from Facebook, on my Facebook page, like, just like through PayPal or Cash App or whatever, then I'll have it shipped to you. And I'll work out deals where you can get all 3 variants for like a cheaper price if people want to get that. I wasn't talking shit about everybody. I'm just saying, like, all the shit talking motherfuckers that are looking forward to, like, listening to the album for free, like streaming it on YouTube and whatnot, and then talking shit about it. Sorry to rain on your fucking parade, but that ain't happening. At least not at first.
Right. There you go. Well, hopefully people will hit it up. Maybe when it gets closer, you can get you can get a big cartel or whatever for free. People can pre-order it with their credit cards and shit.
We've got a lot of people that are like clamoring for this shit. Like, I'm actually really, really happy and surprised at how much love that people has been showing me. Like, not every juggalo feels that way about me, but there are like a lot of juggalos that are like, man, I really respect what you're doing. And I feel that you're just like standing up for yourself and what you believe in. And I respect that. And I can't wait to listen to your album. So like, I'm actually really, really stoked about that.
Everybody we've done features with, and they all think
yeah, everybody that we've ever worked with on this album, like all the MNE guys, like everybody that's worked with us on this album, they think it's dope too. So we're really like satisfied with the results that we've gotten, like the feedback that we've gotten from professionals in the Juggalo community and also like close people in the Juggalo community. So it's like, if you're willing to like give it a chance and buy a copy and check it out, I promise you're not going to be disappointed. And if you want, we can even like if you want to get it signed or whatever, we can like personalize it and stuff for you and all that goodness.
There you go. So definitely be on the lookout for that coming. Make sure you follow One Man Crew on social media so you know how to get it. Even if you're on the fence, I mean, the features alone, if you're in the Juggalo world, I mean, you got fucking Lotus on here. You got Twisted Blaze, ABK, and Mars, fam. So that's worth the price of admission right there, just to get just to be interested. You know what I'm saying?
And the thing is, like, every single track on the album is dope. Like every that was you guys on that. Oh yeah. When we went to Fright Fest and we introduced ourselves to Twisted, they were like really, really shocked that we actually made that track that they were on. They were like, wow, you guys did a really great job on that. And like all the M&E guys that we collaborated with, they did something for us that, and shout out to Dustin from M&E to hooking us up. They actually went out of their way. We had to wait till everybody else was in the VIP was done, but they did a group photo op for us for promotional purposes. And that was really, really super dope of them to do that for us. They didn't have to do that for us, but they were really cool with us. And basically, I'm not going to name names or nothing, but like all the M&E guys, I told them what happened between me and Violent J, and the consensus was the same. Like, they basically concurred with me that he's like pretty much a douchebag and hard to work with, and that's why they all fucking left.
Right. It seems to be a general consensus. I mean, even the first part of the show, we talked about Shaggy talking about how his relationship is bad for his mental health. So, but
I bet it is.
It's depressing to see, man. You know what I'm saying? A fucking dynasty crumble, but it is what it is, I guess. We still here. We still doing it. You know what I'm saying? It's all good.
I appreciate you guys, man. Thanks for having me on, man. And I really do appreciate you guys giving me the platform to tell my story, and so people would understand like where I'm coming from, because like all this stuff I'm doing is all out of love for the Juggalos and for ICP. Like, even though I'm having beef with Violent J over some bad business, it started out, I was a fan of ICP, and I still love and appreciate ICP's work, their artwork. You know what I mean? And I still love the Juggalos. I have so many Juggalo homies that have my back, and I have their back, and vice versa. So I mean, I'm still a Juggalo regardless, and that doesn't mean I'm a mark for Violent J, or I'm like worship this guy, this false idol with a dope addiction or not like that. It just means that I've got the Juggalos' back. Like, I love the Juggalos, and I'm here for the Juggalos because I am a Juggalo. Whoop whoop.
Whoop, whoop. Hell yeah. Well, that's what's up. Well, besides the record coming 420, which you can purchase by following One Man Crew online, any wrestling or any other production or anything going on that you wanted to let people know about?
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. So that was just like the first thing that I'm doing that's like revenge against Violent J, like being successful to spite him. The second thing is that Juggalo movie. I landed 5 beats on the soundtrack, and all the beats were supposed to be like, they were all supposed to be Violent J's beats that I made for him, like the custom shit, right? So what I ended up doing was I repurposed those beats for our album and for that soundtrack, and got the songs on our new album credited on that soundtrack to cross promote the album and the movie. And then they gave me a cameo role in the movie, flew me down to New Orleans, paid me SAG-AFTRA minimum, which was like $404 for like 1 day on set. Then I got to sign like 3 different contracts. One was a talent contract for acting in the movie, and then 2 were like different sync licensing agreements where I'm going to get paid thousands of dollars upon like the release of the movie when it like gets the gate receipts in, and then I'm going to get like royalties for the rest of my life or until the movie becomes like public domain. So that's how the music business really is, and that's how real professionals like Nathan Tate, the director of that movie, treat music producers. So that's the second thing I got going. That's like a slap in the face with my dick to Violent J, because they had to approve a lot of shit with Psychopathic Records for that movie to even be made. So I'm sure he's like, how the fuck does this guy land this fucking movie deal? Anyway, the third thing is I'm filming a documentary series called Wrestle Gaiden, which is a following the story of the lineal world title of professional wrestling. And what I did starting out was I started booking JCW guys and beating them just to piss off Violent J. I got Corp to come out of retirement. He never lost the JCW world title. So we got a replica of the JCW world title. And the thing is, it's deeper than the JCW shit. A lot of people are like, this mark with a fake JCW belt. No, it's deeper than that. See, Corporal Robinson was technically the lineal world champion of professional wrestling because he beat Scott Hall at Bloody Mania 1, and Scott Hall was WWC Universal Champion at that time, which was Puerto Rico's version of the world title, which traced all the way back to 1983 when Carlos Colon beat Ric Flair in a steel cage match to unify the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, the WWC World Championship, and they created the WWC Universal Championship. So once Court beat Scott Hall, he became the lineal world champion, technically. So I got Corp to come out of retirement. He put me over, dropped the belt to me, made me the lineal world champion. Then I defended it against Congo Kong. Then I defended it against Buff Bagwell. Then Madman Pondo. Then another JCW guy, my homie Mr. Fitness Slim Trimmin, one of the fitness guys. And then I defended it against Rhino. Then former NWA world champion Tommy Rich. Then Eugene. There's another JCW guy, Joe Brooks. Then I just beat Tony Atlas, and who's like the first ever African American world champion of pro wrestling. With he was a WWF tag team champion with Rocky Johnson, The Rock's dad, and Mike Jackson. And then next month, in March, I'm wrestling Shane Douglas, who never lost the XPW world title. So that'll be the storyline for that episode of Wrestle Gaiden. And then I'm wrestling Dan Severn in April, who never lost the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. So that'll be the final episode of the series Wrestle Gaiden, when I wrestled Dan Severn. And then the footage that I've been shooting for all these episodes, I'm actually licensing some of the footage to fight for a television show called Legends of the Underground. So I'm getting paid to beat Violent J's guys on TV. And have the footage for my web series or whatever, my documentary series. So, and then also the guys from Fight said that if it's dope, that they'll fast track a deal with that too. So I'll be able to license that to them. So I got a lot of dope shit going on in the works, man. And
is Corp still on drugs? How's he doing?
When I was with him, he didn't do any drugs, at least not in front of me. But he did drink quite a bit. Yeah. He liked to smoke weed and drink beer, but he wasn't doing like pills or nothing.
That's good. That's a plus. Shout out to Corp. Shout out to Pondo though. Pondo's dope. I love that dude. Good people.
Super nice guy.
Yeah.
Madman Pondo is a really, really cool guy.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man. So it sounds like you got all kinds of things popping off. You're gonna have to change your name to One Man Vengeance or something.
One Man Vengeance.
Right.
I love it.
Fucking crazy, man. So there you guys go, man. Make sure you're following him, One Man Crew. The record's coming out April 20th. All kinds of features on there. And beats that were made for ICP. So if you like the sound of Bewitching and things of that nature, make sure you check out the Keepers of the Crypt album, the Astronomic Dr. Chronic, featuring Tommy Chong, Twisted, Blaze, Mars from Lotus, Anybody Killer, Boondocks, ROC, Gmo, Joker, Light, Straight Jacket, and more. Coming.
We just put out a Christmas EP called An Astronomic Christmas with Dr. Chronic. If you guys want to hear like some shit that maybe in the same vein of the Astronomic Dr. Chronic, we actually did that 4-song EP in the matter of 2 weeks just to hurry up and have something out, because we were originally going to release this album on Christmas, but because we got other deals with people to be featured on our stuff, we decided to push the album back so that we can make it as dope as possible. Plus we wanted to rebrand it. So we made the Christmas EP that if you want, you can listen to it for free on YouTube. It's called An Astronomic Christmas with Dr. Chronic. It's got a song called Violent Night on it.
We just watched that movie.
Yep.
If you listen to Violent Night, the song, not the movie, I actually never saw that movie Violent Night when I made that song. I've seen it recently, but when I made the song, I hadn't seen Violent Night, the movie, yet. But really, we just was making a song that sounded like Silent Night, because we were making Christmas songs, and we were trying to come up with names for songs that sounded like Christmas songs. But like, for example, Jingle Bell Rocks, it's about selling crack rocks to get money to buy Christmas presents. And then Violent Night is about like being so pissed off at a motherfucker you don't even care that it's Christmas. You just want to track him down and beat his ass.
Well, there you go. Go check that out on YouTube. Get a little sample of what's to come. Keep it out, man. Sounds like lots of good stuff on the horizon for One Man Crew. So make sure you guys are following him, staying tuned, checking it out. I got 2 more questions for you, brother, before we let you guys continue with your evening. The first one we ask all of our guests anytime they're on the show, just because we're unoriginal and we like to do it. But essentially, man, you got 3 albums, 3 records that you just could not live without. Whether it be the one that you cry to in your car, the one you punch your wall to when you're mad, the one that you stand on the street corner and yell at Violent J to, whatever it might be, 3 records that you just could not live without. What would they be?
Wow, that's a great question. I would say Megadeth, Rust in Peace, Metallica, Master of Puppets, and the Machiavelli album, the 7-Day Theory.
Hell yeah, that's a good record. I was waiting for like Malenko or something to pop in there. I was gonna be like, no. Hell yeah, that's what's up, man. A little mix of some fucking some anger there. He's an angry fella. One Man Crew.
Well, I mean, when you've been shit on as much as I have, it's kind of hard to be happy all the time.
I feel you. Well, take all that, put it all in a fucking, what do they call that shit on the anime where they fucking the Dragon Ball Z and they get the glow hands and they're like, and it like builds up and shit.
I don't know what they call it.
The Super Saiyan.
Yeah, Super Saiyan. So my man Violent J, he tunes into Replicon Radio. He's probably gonna listen to this episode because his name is gonna be in the fucking title.
Well, if you're listening, Violent J.
Yeah, tell whatever you want to say to Violent J. He's standing in front of you right now. Maybe not in front of you because I need you to use your words, not your hands. So
if you're listening, Violent J, when you hear the Astronomic Dr. Chronic, you're gonna know that you were a dumb motherfucker for ever sleeping on me.
There you go. And give him some credits on that song because it's a dope track. And there you go, man. There it is. Well, that's what's up. New records coming out 420. Where's the best place for them to follow? Tell them where to follow you, where to keep in touch, so they don't miss out on anything.
Well, my Instagram's at One Man Crew, ONEMANKRU. I always answer people's direct messages. I'm on Facebook under my real name, Anthony Douglas Sanders, Sanners, or you can hit up my One Man Crew page on there. Excuse me. And that's pretty much it, man. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I have a couple different Twitters. I got locked out of my real Twitter, so I had to make a new Twitter. So I'm like, well, that's a bunch of work all down the drain. So I just don't even use Twitter anymore.
I feel that.
but I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. And if anybody wants to get a copy of the album once it's out, we're planning on having it actually available a little bit before 420. That way you can get it. Like if you order it from us, you'll get it by 420.
Hell yeah. There you go. So make sure you guys pay attention. Hit that up so you can be one of the first ones to hear it. Bump it. Peep it out. So you don't have to wait because the digital release is going to be delayed. So pick up a physical copy. Send me one while you're at it. If you guys want to buy two, go ahead and send Replicon Radio one so we can check it out. Make sure you follow, man.
I'm planning on sending guys people that have YouTube channels and podcasts and whatnot copies of it so they can do reviews and stuff on it. So yeah, I'll be happy to send you guys.
We'll definitely peep it out, man.
For sure.
Hell yeah, brother. Well, it was a pleasure to meet you. Thanks for hanging out with us at Replicon Radio.
No problem, bro. You got any other questions? I know you said you had one more question.
No, that was the whatever you wanted to say to Violent J was the last one.
Oh, okay. Well, I just want to continue. Violent J, I forgive you for being a douchebag. I know you can't help it. You're a prima donna. You think your shit don't stink. I understand. I mean, if I had a bunch of people like kissing my ass all the time and worshiping me as a false idol, I'd probably think really highly of myself too. But if you ever want to knock yourself down off your pedestal and act like a normal human being and talk to me face to face like a human, I'll be willing to do that for you. I'll be willing to accommodate you. And no, I'm not going to hurt you. I won't beat your ass or nothing. You don't have to worry about that. But if you ever want to talk face to face like a normal human, which I know you won't because you couldn't even look me in the eye the last time I seen you face to face, I'd be happy to do that for you. But since you're such a prima donna and such a celebrity, a big timer, and you like to big time people and treat people like a jabroni, I know you will never do that because you view me as beneath you because you don't live in reality. You live in a fantasy world that you've created for yourself. But just know that the bridge hasn't been completely burnt with me. If you ever want to talk and be a real motherfucker and be legit, I'll always be here. It's always an option to talk to me. That's all I got to say.
There you go. You can follow him at One Man Crew. That's KRU on social media. And look for that new record coming in April. All right, brother. Much love. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you guys are tuned in live on YouTube, this stream is going to end. You can head on over to repliconradio.com, listen live to the music break, or just hang out, hit the subscribe button. We'll be back after the break to talk some more shit about things popping off in the underground. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Make sure, again, you guys vote for the Replicon Radio Awards. They are on YouTube this year. New categories we're dropping all this week. And much love to you guys, and we'll see you guys after the break. And thank you to One Man Crew for hanging out with us.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you giving me the platform. And much love to all the druggalos out there who see that I'm not beefing with anybody else but one person. And it's the same person that all of us artists and producers have a problem with. And there's a reason we have a problem with it. And it's not because we don't like the guy or we don't want to work with the guy. It's because this guy, he's just a dickhead. And that's just all there is to it. He's a fucking douchebag. And that's why people have a problem with this guy. But just because I got a problem with him or he has a problem with me doesn't mean I got a problem with you. Me and you, all the juggalos, I got nothing but love for all of you. Because I admire your passion and your loyalty, and I respect you guys. I'm one of you guys. So much love to everybody. Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. All right,